This episode was actually not too terrible. I actually don't have any problems with it. If anything, I have bigger problems with the series than anything else. But this episode actually wasn't too terrible. I honestly don't have too much in the way of complaints, which is weird. Probably wondering what's going on. If you're new to the show, this is the Rider Time Podcast here on the Morphin Network, and we are here to talk about Kamen Rider Gotchard, episode 36, Meteorigin of Chemies. I understand now. Yeah, it's back to really bad puns for the episode titles. It's like, yeah, it's actually called Origin of the Chemies, but the Japanese word for origin has the word meteor in it, so insert shoehorning here, like we've always been doing. But no, it's exactly what it's what I did not expect. This episode is actually not terrible. I'm genuinely shocked by this because I'm so used to Gotchard being so bad. Even in the previous episode, I had to lament twice about the series because I had to do it in 2 takes because there's audio problems in the first take, and obviously this is live, so yeah, when it's live, you know, you only get the 1 take. So I did 2 live podcasts for 1 episode. You guys are welcome. And I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. I know you guys came to hear me complain about Gotchard like you do every week, but this time around, it was not a terrible episode. I'm at a loss for words on this. Like, how does this happen? How? Why wasn't it this mid to above average before? And the thing is, if you could write episodes better like this one, why didn't you do it sooner? Was there a change in writing? Did they pull a reverse Hibiki where like I don't want to hate on Inoue because he does write good tokusatsu, but he dropped the ball on Hibiki, and those last 15 episodes were bad. But here, it's like the opposite. It's like the last 15 episodes, not even the last 15 episodes, last 15, if there's going to be 50 episodes, are better instead of worse. What's going on here? And the thing is, I've never seen a Kamen Rider series do this, where only like the last trimester of the series is better than the first 2 trimesters. Usually it's like maybe the first half is good, second half is bad. Maybe the first quarter is bad and the remaining 75% is good. And then you have something like Saber, where it keeps like fluctuating sporadically, but only because COVID was a thing. So I gave that one a pass. But yeah, no, like it's like a reverse Hibiki here. If this episode is to be a litmus for anything, and it is shocking to me. But yeah, like one subplot that is abandoned pretty quickly into this episode is, well, although it does open doors for larger plots that I think will be continued further, but we just had to just like briefly mention in the episode, so I'm going to discuss just as briefly. Lakisa wants to be human, and she's been going through experiments, and we haven't seen her since. And so for today's test, they're going to try to make her laugh. We get some comedy skits that make Aruto Hiden look like George Carlin. Hi, Aruto-ja, Naito. Yeah. Maybe it's a cultural thing, but I'm gonna be honest, I did not understand the skits that Rine and Sabimaru were doing. First of all, why is it Rine with Sabimaru doing a duet, and while Rine is doing a solo thing? You'd think Rine would do the weird faces while Renge and Sabimaru would do the duet comedy. But again, like certain jokes do not. Maybe it's a language barrier, but I did not get some of these jokes. It's times like this when I wish we did have like fan subs to like translate the jokes for us, because sometimes fan subs did this. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. Official position: we want to support official releases. If you can get the volume DVDs from Japan, please do so. If you want to wait for Shout Factory to release them on Blu-ray, please do so, because we got Kamen Rider Black, Black RX, Kuga, Ryuki, and 01, and Geats all on Blu-ray. Nothing's stopping you from getting those Blu-rays. But back in the day when we didn't have official releases and we had to, use the Kaizoku method, some of the fan subbers did include like translator notes to help explain certain puns. I wish we got those in this episode so I could understand the jokes. But the long and short of it, Lachesis doesn't get the joke, doesn't get any of the jokes. She's not laughing. Even if you try to, there was this instance where Hopper tried to was tickling Hotaro, and I was thinking maybe he was trying to suggest that they tickle Lachesis. And it makes me wonder, what if they did tickle Lachesis instead of Hotaro? Maybe she might laugh involuntarily. Who knows? But, they just tickled Hotaro. Everyone except for Lachesis was laughing, so she just sneered. Which doesn't count because it's not sincere, which makes sense. I totally get that. But it does open the door to something that might be a more running subplot, which is this golden flower, which is supposed to induce joy and laughter. And based on what I think might happen in the next episode, that's probably what's going to happen. So we have a storybook Fuga. See, I almost said Fua. Fuga kept reading to Rine. So it turns out there was this daybreak alchemist. Gee, I wonder who that is. And fighting an evil demon. Gee, I wonder who that is. And seal the demon away to the world of Hades. And it was partly thanks to a flower made of gold. And there was a grasshopper in the illustration. So here's what I'm thinking. We know that there's a mysterious egg inside Hotaro. And it's the only thing of significant importance that happened with the Kamen Rider Legend 4-part episode. It's that, there is this mysterious egg inside him. And Gigas knows about it. That's pretty much it. We could have skipped that and it wouldn't have made any difference. So I'm thinking this egg and this flower are somehow connected. I know it sounds like a low-hanging fruit, Hayorata Janaito, but it is a possibility. What if you had to combine multiple alchemic items in order to create the true final form, which, again, missed opportunity if it's not a Philosopher's Stone. And of course, Spanner and Minato visit the organization, and the organization acts the way it always does, being completely ineffectual, because Gitsa shows up and he's like, I understand what you're feeling. You're scared to the point that your knees are trembling, but you don't want to sit around and do nothing, so you would rather fight than cower. I respect that. And so Gigas finally goes on the attack, and he seems to have an understanding of human emotions, and I do want to explore this a little bit. This is actually kind of interesting because we've had very humanoid villains up to this point. We had Atropos, Lachesis, Clotho. We've had Grayon, and they all seem to behave in ways that doesn't really show an understanding of human emotion. They exhibit human emotions like anger, definitely anger, mostly anger, especially from Clotho. But again, the three sisters are homunculi, so they should not have the ability to exhibit emotions. So I find it interesting that this not so human character seems to have a profound understanding of emotions, because I find that really interesting. Is it because is this understanding because like a sort of balance that where like the sisters have no concept of emotion while this guy does, because maybe he took away their emotions to understand emotions better? Or is it because he is so overwhelmed with with an understanding of emotions that he deprived them of it? Although, to be fair, he was not the one that created them. It was Grayon. But again, this is going off of Full Metal Alchemist, where the reason why the seven homunculi exist is so that Father, the creature in the flask, wanted to rip the seven sins from his own being because he saw them as his own personal flaws. So he created them as uh as vessels to store his flaws, while whatever's left of him remains to be his perfect state, which, by the way, is pride. Just letting you know. It doesn't seem like pride was completely ripped away from his body, but okay. Okay. So I do find it interesting. Like, they've made Gigist really interesting in this episode. I'm genuinely surprised. Oh my god. Like, I want to learn more about Gigist. And where did he come from? Where did he go? Like, we know he's supposed to be the demon from the story, and like he even like pulled a Bloodbod a line from the show Grimm. If you've never seen Grimm, watch it. 6 seasons. It's available on Amazon Prime. And yeah, so there's like the thing. It's like I'm a Bloodbod. We're the creatures that your ancestors vilified as the big bad wolf, and I like that. I like that. There's a chance that Gigas maybe is not so like simplified as a villain. There might be some more depth to him. I mean, there's certainly very little in the way of depth for Grayon in the past. But, it's just, how do I put it? It's like, it feels like a breath of fresh air to me. It feels like a breath of fresh air that we have a villain that is well written in this season. Oh my god. Please don't ruin it. Please don't ruin this for me, Toei, or whoever's writing Gotchard. Please, like, you're creating good positive potential for this character. Don't ruin it for me. Please do not ruin it. I'm begging you. And of course, he immediately murks one of the alchemists at the organization. He's like, I gave him his wish. He wanted incredible power, so I gave it to him. It's not my fault he can't control that power and cause his body to disintegrate. I'm like, oh my god. A Faustian villain. So good. And we could add this to Clotho's transformation. And also and also I love how like he has like a sort of like a reverse phrase for creating amalgams compared to Grayon, because he says stain yourself in gold, but this guy, he says stain yourself in Silurian black, some kind of black. It's like a metallic black, but basically stain yourself in black. So it's like, original amalgams that we've seen in the show, they all had gray undersuits, but Grayons are gold because they're stained in gold, while Skabaus is, I still can't get over the name for that, has a black undersuit because stain yourself in so and so black. Oh my god. I'm actually invested now in the amalgams a little bit more. So there's like a fight scene between Valvared and Gigas, and what's interesting is that he mentions that normally my black flames would engulf a person, but he's not but he managed to survive. These humans are cowards, but not this one. I want to learn more about this. You're piquing my curiosity. Oh my god, yes. But there's still that other writer. He has my egg. What? Tell us more about this egg. And it's hinted throughout the episode that the egg used to be part of Gigas' true form, but it was separated from him when he was sealed away. So now my question is, why is this egg, this part of Gigas, is now part of Hotaru instead? How did it end up there? Was he born with it? Did someone implant it to him while he was maybe a baby, while the village was being attacked by the nine-tailed fox amalgam? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. This isn't Naruto. But yeah, also, we still don't know anything about Hotaru's father. So could Hotaru's father be somehow involved in the creation of that egg, or it being implanted into his body? What if Gigas was his father, and he took a human form, kind of like Blue Exorcist? That would also be an interesting way to do this. Like we're opening doors here for several possibly good stories that we could write moving forward from here on, and we only have about 15 episodes to write them in. It's not impossible. There have been plenty of great anime that have been able to write good stories in just 12 episodes. So it's not impossible. But gotta do it right. Also, Hotaru has an encounter with what's it called, Time Lord, and we have this really interesting time and space warping effect that looks like a clock that's like trying to balance itself out. And I find that effect to be very interesting, and also I appreciate the inclusion of having that roulette, that gotcha roulette in the background, because as it's rotating, so is the background. And I actually appreciate the addition of this effect because it adds to the aesthetic of what's happening in the scene. Yes, this is good cinematography. We actually have good cinematography happening in an episode of Gotchard. Yes, let's keep this up. Let's keep it going. And of course, Gigas reveals something really interesting. Not only was he the one who created the two original chemies, which were the X-Dragon and X-Gaia, but also turns out that the reason why it's like chemies weren't created to be friends, nor were they created to be tools. They were created to be destroyers. He even points out that Hopper 1 is supposed to be an agent of famine. Like the locust from the book of Exodus, that is Hopper 1. Oh my god, this is really interesting. We're incorporating Judaic alchemy into the plot. And here's the thing, like we've seen a lot of Grecian alchemy, but we haven't seen a lot of Egyptian alchemy, or Roman alchemy, or Chinese alchemy, or Japanese alchemy, or even British alchemy. Like for the most part, we've only seen Grecian alchemy in the form of the Hades sisters, but we haven't really seen much of we have the name drop of Newton, but it's one thing I've really wanted to see in this series since day one was was to explore the history of and culture of alchemy throughout multiple different civilizations, because many different civilizations practiced alchemy. Some were more or less successful than others. As far as the elixir of life transmutation goes, everyone was a failure. Let's keep it 100. Like, there's never been any kind of elixir of life. There's never been a proper philosopher's stone. There's been speculation that the person who came closest to discovering the philosopher's stone was a British alchemist named Nicholas Flamel, and his coat of arms is a snake wrapped around a cross, which ties into Full Metal Alchemist. Come on, guys, work with me here. So like, one thing I always wanted to see explored in the series is alchemy throughout different cultures, throughout the history of humanity, and we never got that. We never had any of that. The first we got is, oh, we have homunculi. That's pretty much it. Oh, and they're named after the three fates. That's it. That's all there is to it. That's all we've ever covered. So we have opportunities here. We have opportunities here, because also keep in mind, one of my favorite stories of Judaic alchemy was the creation of the golem, a massive creature made of stone that would protect its creator and his village. So you got a lot of interesting things you could work with here. Heck, there was even an episode of Extreme Ghostbusters that involved the golem. And also, I'm a huge Castlevania fan, so keep that in mind. So I really hope that in these last 15 episodes, maybe they just might finally go into these things that I've wanted to see since day one. Because let's be honest, just random telekinesis or pyrokinesis, that's not real alchemy. It's not. Okay? It's just telekinesis. You have magical powers. Call it what it is. I take as much issue with that as much as I take issue with people calling sing-alongs karaoke. It's not karaoke, okay? Karaoke involves having instrumentals of a song while lyrics play on a screen, and you sing those lyrics through a tracker. It's not impossible to do it while you're carpooling. It might be a dangerous thing to do. But if you're just singing a song together, that's not karaoke. That's just doing a sing-along. There's no shame in doing a sing-along. It's just call a spade, call a heart a heart. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I wanted to see some real alchemy, and we rarely get to see that. We did in this episode. A dude turned a statue into a sword before he got murked, but I was hoping to see more of this. I mean, we've seen bits and pieces of it in the past. Like even Minato had the Spear of Longinus at one point, but again, very sporadically occurring. Now, we get an actual fight scene between Hotaru and an evil version of Skabos, while Rene fights against Super Clotho, and it's really interesting because in a way they won, but also they lost, because while Hotaru does manage to defeat this more powerful, more evil version of Skabos, the card doesn't return to its original state, and the original Chemi form of Skabos is stained white. It's almost as if the Chemi died. And of course, Gigas says, the sorrow you are feeling, I understand it. I want to know more about what you understand. Who are you, Gigas? What do you know? What do you want? I have to know. And that's where the episode ends. I give this one a 9 out of 10. It actually, compared to a lot of the past episodes, and I do mean a lot of the past episodes, they were severely lackluster. They were severely predictable, and characters were boring as they were more boring than a communal wafer. And to see such a breath of fresh air in a villain actually be interesting, characters acting like they actually care about something, feeling real stakes for once, expanding on future mysteries that could be like resolved over time, like that. I want to see more of this. Like the thing with the flower, like we know that Hopper 1 goes on a mission and it's like Hopper on 1 on his own, but we all know he's trying to find that flower. He's trying to find that flower. I know this is what the plot of the next episode is going to be. And I know that because why would you show a close-up of Hopper 1, of a grasshopper and a yellow and a gold flower inside the picture book if that's not somehow integral to the fact that you mentioned golden flowers being important to the plot and Hopper 1 going on a mission? Like, and they were subtle about it too. Like it wasn't as obvious as like some of the other stuff, like Fuga dying, for example, because like that was just way too obvious. I love the time turner effect in this episode. I love that Gigas is a more complex villain. He's not just, oh, I want to turn the world into gold. That's all I want. That's my whole thing. Because, like, on me honest, that's even lamer than Gorilla Grodd trying to turn everyone into gorillas. And I want to see where things go from here. And again, like, what is up with that egg inside Hotaro? And the fact, and again, like, I brought up a number of things that could potentially lead into like really good payoffs. We just need the writing staff to not ruin this. That's all we need. Just get this done and you'll be all right. Keep it up. What you got cooking here, we might be able to salvage the season and maybe give it a C. Like there's no like Kamen Rider Gotchard, it's definitely, as a whole season, there's no way it's gonna get a 10 out of 10. There's nothing you could write into it that will save it at this point because the first 2/3 of it were just so bad. But depending on how you write this last trimester, you might still be able to make it salvageable to at least a mid-season. Here's hoping. We'll watch the next episode and hope for the best. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Let's see. I think Spanner will make her laugh. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised he didn't go with Minato, but I can see why you would want to go with Spanner because they're both different Valvereds. I get it. How did Gigas get in? I don't know, but I was impressed by the dramatic entrance. That was actually a really good entrance he made. Black Flames are not yet resolved. Yeah. Yeah, that's regular Time Lord and not a Daybreak variant. Exactly. Because the Time Lord we saw in the past was actually the one from the future. So the one we see in the present is the one from the present. Unless it's the same one who's just exists outside of time, but I'm surprised he's not a level 10 Kamen considering how overpowered he is. I'm sorry, but the egg doesn't serve you anymore. Yeah, like that's another thing. It's like he did try to rip the egg from Hotaro's body, but it just rejected Gigas. So there's more that I'd like to learn about it. Do you think it might be more like the egg from Yu Yu Hakusho, where it feeds on both the good and the bad vibes? So like when Hotaro's good vibes entered the egg just changed its nature. And also this could play a part in the whole Hotaro ruined the Chemies by turning them into good people, into good creatures. He turned them into Malcolm's without a host, which honestly is also pretty interesting. He didn't save him on next episode quest for the goal. Exactly, like they're hinting it so. They're hint like they did a great job subtly hinting that Hopper 1 goes on a quest to find the golden flower, and I know somehow this is going to play a role in whatever the egg is. Yes, there's we're not going to talk about that. Wow, Kabuto actually liking an episode. Shock. Yeah, I'm just as shocked as you are. Like you would expect me to hate this episode because I've hated so many other past episodes, but here we are, not hating it. How did the egg end up inside him? I'm telling you, man, there's several different ways it can play out, and it can be done well. Let's hope it does. And again, what happened to Hotaro's dad? We still haven't seen him. Hohenheim of Light vibes, dude. Hohenheim of Light. And that's it for the comments, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ding the bell icon. Stay notified for our latest videos. Please be sure to also share our videos because it helps us out with the algorithms. We do Ultraman Rube on Mondays, Kamen Rider Gotchard on Wednesdays, Bakage Sentai Boom Boomger on Thursdays, and Kamen Rider Kiva on Sundays. But just giving you a heads up, next week we are moving Rider Time podcast to the 31st instead of the 29th. So just be aware of that. Not the 29th. It'll be on the 31st. The following week, we're going back to Wednesdays. It's just for this 1 week only. We're moving the podcast to Friday. So just giving you guys a heads up about that change for next week only. And also check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do movie reviews, video game news, etc. And it is Shrek month, so we are discussing all 4 main Shrek films. That's Shrek, Shrek 2, Shrek the Third, Shrek Forever After. We just did Shrek the Third last night, so be sure to check that out on our sister channel. Comment, like, subscribe, share that channel as well. And next Tuesday, we're going to be doing the final in the tetralogy, Shrek Forever After. And I got some interesting things to say about that film, so be sure to stick around for that. And if you want to check out my personal content, you can find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. With all that said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay hydrated, update emergency kits on your loved ones, and have a great rest of your week. It's Wednesday. We're almost through. And tomorrow, don't stop the boom boom. Bye, guys.